Well, hello, Mike and Mirka. Thank you for joining us here in my living room and on a Friday night. And we are going to just get to know you a little bit and find out some of the things that God has done in your life. So you guys met, you dated for a while, and then you got married. And now, Mirka, you had Stephen.
Yes.
And he was, I guess when you guys married, how old was he?
9.
Okay, 9 years old. So, and his dad was out of the picture, and
Yes.
So Mike, you took on that responsibility and became his primary father.
Steve was always very easygoing, happy kid.
Smiles, all smiles.
Always smiling, not too much into school, but into friends and skating and surfing and just being outdoors. And he just had a very, life just penetrated through his soul. He loved life. March 5th, I dropped him off at school in the morning, and I said, okay, Stephen, I'll see you later. And it was Friday. And at about 1 o'clock in the morning, I heard a knock on the door. And it was Friday night. Stephen was 18. He was with friends. And a man, said, Stephen died. And at first, I really could not believe what he was saying. I was just, no, you got the wrong person. He goes, no, I have his driver's license right here. And I go, no, you got the wrong person. You got the wrong person. And then it just hit me, and I just remember walking outside, looking up in the sky, and I go, God, why? And I just remember walking back in, and I get down on my knees. I go, is God punishing me? I go, God, are you punishing me? And the man had told me that, he goes, no, God is not punishing you. But at the moment, I felt like he was punishing me.
When did you hear the news?
At the same time, I was home, and I got really sick to my stomach as soon as I found out. I fell to my knees right there on the floor, and it was a very, very confusing time.
What were the months and the weeks following the funeral? What was going through your mind? Did you have any thoughts about God at that point? Or
every day. I prayed every day. I didn't even know him. I just felt that there is something more. I had many dreams with Stephen, and I started keeping journal. And July 23rd is, I would go ahead and just, Mike and I would go to bed. And I fell asleep, but the dream was different. It was, they call it a lucid dream, that you feel like you're out of your own body, like your soul travels. I can't explain it, but I remember I just fell asleep, and then I'm in the presence, and my dad is there. He died 10 years ago of cancer, and he told me, I'm very proud of you, and be calm, everything will work out just fine. And after, there he was. And then suddenly I see my grandma, and I love my grandma, and I put my hand in her lap, and she was going like this to me, and she goes, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. You will find everything out, and it's gonna be okay. And then I see my grandpa, who died 35 years ago, and he goes to me, just be calm. Just be calm. Don't do any drugs. Be careful of yourself. And then suddenly there is Stephen, and there he is in front of me. And all these months I would go and call out to Stephen and go, Steve, why didn't you come home after school? Stephen, why did you have to go to that movie theater? Stephen, I love you and I miss you, and I just miss you. And he goes, Mom, I hear you every day. You talk to me, I hear you, you tell me how much you love me. I hear you. I go, okay, and then suddenly he goes to me, well, remember, Mom, the only way to heaven is through Jesus. And I just felt, I don't know, like if I was laying down and somebody picked me up and just carried me very gently. It was like I was floating, and then suddenly I was in the presence of Jesus. And even if you'd never met Jesus before, suddenly you're in front of Jesus. I fell down on my knees for some odd reason, just to humble yourself before God. And I just fell down in front of my knees, and he was wearing all white. It felt like he wasn't even standing, like he was floating. And all I saw him in his glory, in his white, and you could just tell, like almost like a profile. And I just got down on my knees, and I just got, God, Jesus, I love you so much. I love you, Jesus. And he goes to me, well, just remember, I am the way to heaven. And he said to me, read the Gospel of John, I am the way to heaven. And then I kept going through the Bible, and then I saw the Gospel of John. And I just remember reading the first words. And, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And I kept thinking, what are they talking about? What is the Word? And I was Googling it, the Word, what is the Word? I was so ignorant of everything. I knew nothing about Jesus. I knew nothing about his life. I knew nothing about his death. I knew nothing. But that was my encounter with Jesus, where he told me to read the Gospel of John.
Now, what did you do? What were you thinking through this whole...
When she told me the dream, I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's great. Good night. I mean, I don't want to say that I didn't believe her, but with everything that had happened, so many emotions were going on. In my own mind, I was thinking, well, maybe this is her way of dealing with what we're going through. So I didn't believe. I mean, I knew there was something, and I guess I did believe, but I didn't know anything. I never read the Bible. I didn't know anything.
So did you read the book of John too?
No, I didn't.
You just said, hey, go ahead, honey. You
she would read it every night, and she would be like, you have to read this. This is amazing. And as she's getting into it, and
what was the first thing that caught your attention that she showed you? She said, oh, you got to see this. Did anything catch your attention?
Her passion for what she was reading. I could tell that a light was turned on, and those pages are coming to life. The living Word is working. But I didn't know what that meant at that time. So for me, I just was letting her read, and that she would read every night. I mean, I wouldn't even see her. She would be in the bedroom reading, in Stephen's room reading.
Really?
So yeah, it was amazing.
So when would you say that the real change happened?
That night. It formed that night.
That night.
When grace appears, I mean, it is that instant. It went from desperation and just like dark and lonely nights, and constantly crying to hope. To hope that there is something better. To hope that there is life. To hope that he's there. That he hears us. That he feels for us. That he's there. And that night, I was saved. That night.
And then Stephen appeared again at the end of the dream, you were telling me, and he told you something else that was a little bit surprising. He said something about a baby. What did he tell you?
And he told me, when are you and Mike going to have a baby?
Well, let's fill everybody in on what happened. This was about 2010?
2010.
2010, 4 months after. You had all these dreams leading up, but then you had this one very profound dream, and you met Jesus. You were saved that night. When did you get saved? How did that come about?
Well, we started searching for answers because she's reading the book of John, and now there's all these questions that she has, and I haven't really dove in yet. So she's looking for a church. She finally finds a place to go, and that we like, and she told me, and we went, and I could feel God's drawing me to Him, and I knew it, and I could feel it. And the pastor, I went to a Bible study, and pastor had asked me if I had prayed the prayer, and I said no, and he asked me if I wanted to, and I said yes, and that was that night. We did it, and then we were going to Bible study every night since, and it was cool because the book of John was the study, and we learned everything about the book of John in that Bible study, and I don't think we've missed church since.
9 months later, I actually didn't even feel anything. We went on a vacation, and that was in May of 2011, and we came back, and it was the 4th of July weekend, and I just kept thinking, you know, there's something wrong. I'm just gaining too much weight, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna take the test. So I went to, you know, the store, and I bought it, and I just remember, you know, just taking a picture of it and sending it to Mike, and Mike is like calling me right back. It's like, wow, this is so cool. And then I went to a doctor. I wasn't just pregnant, I was like 18 weeks pregnant. I felt great. Besides, you know, gaining all weight.
Yeah.
Seriously, I had no symptoms at all. And next thing I know, I'm pregnant. The next thing I know, I have a baby. There's life after death. This here is nothing to compare to being with Jesus and to be in His presence, and just have faith. Have faith that there is something good, and through the dark moments, He's going to be there with you. Even if you know it or you don't, He's going to be there with you. And finally, when it all clicks in and you'll know that Jesus is walking with you, just reach out your hand, grab it, and never let it go, and just walk with Him. Walk with Him, obey Him, read the Bible, and just love Him, because He loves you so much.